Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Fieldhouse. I'm Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every week by Gerry Hamilton, Carl Padilla of the Padilla Poll, Coach Tim Buchanan, and Coach Bob Shipley. Carl, the teams are whittling down. We're getting closer and closer to state. I know you got some good facts for us.
Oh, yeah. It's been a fun week compiling all this stuff. Since Gerry had me look for something right before the show started.
I always mess it up.
Yeah, I got my file moved over. So shutouts are few and far between. There was only one in 6A Division one in 5A Division one in 4A Division and one in TAPS. Actually, we had a team score 80 last week in 5A Division 2. We only had three score in the 70s, one in 2AD1, 2AD2, and in TAPS. Only 5 wins by 50 or more in 6AD2, 5AD1 and D2, 4AD1 and D2, and 2AD1.
Who was the team that went over 80, Carl?
Well, I'll tell that in a second.
Okay.
One score games, there was 5 in 6A, 3 in 5A, 2 in 4A, 5 in 3A, and 4 in 2A. In 100-point games, there was only 1 in 5AD2 and 1 in 2AD2. So pretty slim there. Randall won 83-20 over Bastrop as a Coach Shipley offensive game of the week. Joaquin beat Elysian Fields 74-21, and Mount Enterprise beat Overton 74-46. In the Coach Buck defensive games of the week, Edna beat Ingram Morse 17-14. Idalou beat Canadian 21-17, and Bremond beat March 17-6. When you talk about games that weren't very close, 4AD1 had the worst margin of victory. Davenport beat Bay City 34-19. That's a 15-point win, and that was the closest game in 4AD1 last week. The Colt Monroe All Heart games, we had Waxahachie 38, Cypress Ranch 31 in overtime. San Antonio Johnson 29, Silo Steel 28, Humble Summer Creek 38, Katy 37, Barbers Hill 34, Pflugerville Weiss 31 in overtime, Iowa Colony 31, Brenham 30, Athens 37, Sunnyvale 36, West Orange Stark 35, Sealy 28 in overtime, and Grandview 49, Commerce 48. So all of those nail biters.
I know everybody saw the ending to the Katy game. What a tough way to go, man. I mean, it's not like Duncanville North Shore Hail Mary, but that was a tough one for anybody that saw that, because Katy was there in coverage. They were there. That was a tough one.
It's rough. You know, the coaching is so great over there, and it just seems like the talent keeps deteriorating because of obviously a bunch of schools in Katy, and the fact that Katy doesn't have the majority of the parents anymore, and the fact that their territory gets smaller and smaller with every new school opening. But I mean, the coaching's still there. It's just as good as anybody that you can find. So, but yeah, they had a nice lead on Summer Creek again, and I think they played 2 or 3 years ago, and Summer Creek couldn't quite come back, and this time they did.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, this week was National Signing Day. Before we get into all the playoff action, and Gerry, I know that you have a question that you were wanting to ask regarding that.
Yeah, I'll start with Coach Shipley. How cool was it for you, thinking back on it years ago now, right? But having your kids live out their dream, what was signing day like for you? Obviously, you coached them, but from a dad perspective, being there, watching them sign those national letters of intent and kind of living out their dream.
Yeah, it was special, and thankfully they got to sign with some of their other teammates as well, you know, on signing day. So, you know, it's just a proud moment of accomplishments and getting to continue playing the game of football, especially at a place like the University of Texas. It was an incredible honor, and still Buck knew me back before I was even shaving, probably, and I still didn't know I I could have kids like that. They could run that fast and even get a football scholarship, you know. But anyway, it's a great feeling. It's a great time. Very proud day for a lot of people. Obviously, it's changed more and more, you know, with all the social media and everything now. It's crazy. But anyway, and people are signing different times of the year, whatever, graduating early and all that stuff. So it's become bigger than all of us, but it's a fun time. And again, proud of all those guys that got to sign yesterday, and they're continuing to sign because you just look around and look at the percentage of people that actually get to sign and get their college paid for is significantly less than, you know, you can even imagine. So anyway, it was good, proud, happy for everybody that got to sign today and later this week.
Hey, Coach Buck, one of the things when you start winning as a program, like you were, yes, the winning is fun, but there also comes with within the community. They want their kids to have a chance to play college football, right? Yes. So, when did you start in your tenure at Aledo? When did that start to happen for y'all? And as a staff, I mean, in a community, because Aledo was a small community back then. So much has changed there, but kind of what that meant. How did y'all attack that, and how did that kind of change the program? Because you see, you had to build it, and you had to win. But then after that comes the kids that get a chance to play in college. And that's so important for these communities and these parents. And honestly, when kids are looking, when families move into areas and they're saying, hey, my little Johnny's a pretty good player, and they start looking at these things. Hey, who's winning? Well, those teams that are winning are kids getting to play in college. So kind of talk about that whole process for you guys at Aledo.
Well, first of all, Bob kind of is very humble. If I'm not mistaken, not only was he a pretty good collegiate football player, but he might have been a part of a national track and field championship at ACU too. So don't believe that stuff. Those boys got their genetics from their daddy. Mom will probably help a little bit, but they got a lot of good genes from that guy. He was a pretty good football player himself. But, you know, like you said, when I first got to Aledo, and even before Aledo, when I was consolidated and a few other schools, you know, we really didn't have national signing days, and we didn't have the type of things that we have today. And Brock Newton was the first Division I signee we had in Aledo. That was 11 years later. I got there in 93, and then, you know, Brock signed. He graduated in 2003, and you know, we did the signing in my office. That's how small it was. It was basically there was no ceremony. We took pictures together, and at 7:01 a.m. we faxed the signing document to Texas A&M through a fax machine. You know, that was the extent of it. Now today, as you said, it's extremely big for the communities. It's big for the kids. You know, we used to have, like I said, a table with the Aledo logo sitting on it and the kids signing. Now they got balloons, they got backdrops, they have everything. I looked at the Finley kid, his table. You couldn't hardly find the kid. There was so much stuff on that. And then you got an entourage of people at the signing ceremonies, which is neat. I mean, you'll have at some of them, you'll have 1,000 people at the signing ceremonies today, which is, you know, it's really neat. My only thing about it is I wanted to make sure we stayed focused on two things. One, our program, because a lot of times we were still in the playoffs whenever they were doing the early signing ceremony. And two, on the kid, and not on anything else but that child. And, you know, it's a pretty neat ceremony, and really neat today with all the stuff that we do. Very cool.
Coach Shipley, did both your sons sign in February, or was it an early signing period back then?
Yeah, no, they both signed in February. Jackson actually signed his at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl at the Alamo Dome. That they had the signing date happened to be while they were down there working out. So, but actually, Jackson graduated early, but decided instead. Jordan just finished his rookie season and wasn't married yet. And so they just lived together and trained together all spring. So anyway, that was a little bit different with Jackson, but nope, pretty simple.
Hey, one thing that we were asked a lot yesterday, Jerry, and I don't think we ever got to answer is, do they still use fax machines, or is it all like DocuSign PDF now?
It's all DocuSign stuff now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all DocuSign.
We had to be asked that at least 20, 30 times.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so busy that we never actually got to it.
I can't say for certain nobody uses a fax machine anymore, but it's pretty, by and large, it's DocuSigns and electronic back and forths.
It could be fax
machines for a pretty good while.
Yeah.
And I could, when we started getting more kids that were signing, and you'd have, some D2 kids and 1AA kids and Division I kids, you might have 7 or 8 sign. And, those colleges, they want that scholarship.
Yes.
You can't send it before 7 a.m., but they want that timestamp to say 7:01 a.m. And who gets theirs, because it took a while to fax them all. So who got theirs faxed first? I know when Jonathan Gray signed, I don't think I sent his first. I think I sent, we had 3 or 4 kids sign that year, and his didn't go through till about 7:15. We started getting calls about 7:05 wanting to know where Jonathan's scholarship was.
Yeah. They knew TCU was pushing until signing day, right?
Right. There were several pushing until signing day.
Well, let's take a look at the playoffs. As I said earlier, we are getting down to the final stages. Only a couple of weeks left before we get to the state championship. So let's start with 6A Division I here. And I said, there's multiple undefeated in Class 6A. A couple of those are going to go head-to-head this week. But let's start at the top here, North Crowley and Allen, and then we'll look at Region 2, Duncanville and Waxahachie, which is a rematch from earlier in the season.
All right, Carl, let's start. Who's the favorite in this one? This is an interesting game because they did play last year. North Crowley still extremely talented, younger this year. What's the Padilla Poll saying on this one?
Well, we're actually going with the Allen Eagles by 3, so we'll see if that holds up. North Crowley had about a 5-week stretch at the start of the year where they're just kind of trying to get out of the way of themselves. So they have actually corrected that in a big way, and so never be surprised if North Crowley wins.
And for those, obviously Allen 13-0, North Crowley 12-1 this year. Allen, if you look at maybe some comparable opponents, right? I'm not sure there is a comparable opponent for those two this year. But some Allen 13-0 played a pretty good schedule now. Midland Legacy, Cedar Hill, Rock Hill. They Plano. They beat a lot of people really bad to get to this point. Prosper 31-30. Obviously, Prosper has loaded with Power 4 offensive linemen on that team, so they can match in the trenches with anybody there. But handled their business. Louisville was 22-15, but in the playoffs, Lake Highlands, Louisville 22-15, Lake Highlands 41-7, Permian 56-13. So Lake Highlands has a really good running back, but some big wins for Allen to get the 13-0.
Hey, Coach Buck, what do you think of North Crowley and Allen?
I think North Crowley is going to win it, honestly. I just think they have too many athletes, and on top of that, I think Ray Gates is a good football coach. He does a really good job of keeping his kids focused on the task at hand. And I know Coach Whitten does the same thing at Allen, but I think they've got a few more horses than what Allen does. So I think it'll be a good game, but hopefully it'll be a good game.
By the way, they do have one common opponent, Midland Legacy. Allen beat Midland Legacy 46-13 in the first game of the season. North Crowley beat Midland Legacy in the playoffs last week. Pretty bad. It was a drubbing. That score was 63-17. So they do have one common opponent on the schedule this year. Both of them won comfortably, and boys, Midland Legacy play schedule.
Well, let's jump down to Duncanville and Waxahachie. As I said earlier, this is the rematch. Waxahachie upset Duncanville earlier in the year. But Bob, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this talent-loaded game?
My goodness, they both have one loss. Is that right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I tell you what, I've been really impressed all year with Waxahachie. I think they're going to be. I just have a hard time going against them in this game. Obviously Duncanville's been there many times, and Waxahachie's been a lot more inconsistent, of course. So they do have a lot of experience, playing this deep into the playoffs and being prepared to play and everything. But I just don't know if it's enough to overcome the athletes that Waxahachie is going to put on the field.
So, Carl, it was 28-27 in district. What do you got this week?
This week I got Duncanville by 5. And by the way, I saw them play Collins last week, and they just looked incredible. They got up 21-0, then it was 21-14. And, you just wondered what was going on with Duncanville. And then they just, pushed the afterburners again. And next thing you know, it's 42-14, and I'm on my way out the door. So they've got a ton of athletes too. Just impressive. No matter where you look, the size of Duncanville is something else. It always has amazed me. That I don't know if they're the biggest team in the state, but they sure are amongst the biggest.
Yes.
And then taking a look at Region 3 and Region 4, guys, we got North Shore and Dickinson getting down there in Jerry's neck of the woods. And then both of these teams undefeated in Johnson and Lake Travis.
Yeah, so this Dickinson North Shore game, first it was Ridge Point that was undefeated. It was trying to take down the Giant, slay the Giant in North Shore. That did not go well for them. Dickinson, Carl, I don't know what you got on that one. Dickinson's playoff run was Atascocita 51-47 in round 1. So there's a common opponent for you right there with North Shore, same district as Atascocita. Pearland 28-7. BJ Gott does a great job. That was a really good win for Dickinson. Straight Jesuit 55-16. So where are you at with this one on the Padilla poll this week? Because I'm going with North Shore to continue their streak.
I am too, but you did forget about one common opponent between the two of them. I've got North Shore by 6, and the other common opponent, believe it or not, Jerry, is Sheldon Key. So Dickinson beat them by 7, the second game of the year. And obviously North Shore handled them 42-27 in week 10. So, that would probably tell you that's supposed to be a really tight game. We'll see. Again, North Shore, kind of like Duncanville, is pretty inconsistent start of the year. They've turned that around, with the exception of the week 11 game against Summer Creek, where it was Kenny Harrison's boys just doing a little stomp dance on North Shore 27-0. So hopefully the North Shore team that we all know and love for the last 5-6 years shows up and plays Dickinson. If not, it'd be great for John Snelson to make the semifinals in Dickinson.
Yeah, and what'll be interesting for Dickinson is living down here. They played against them in high school, but now where they're at currently, not a tough district. So I think it was very important to them for Dickinson to get in one of those knockdown dragouts with the Atascocita, because they didn't have a district game. Their district games were 59-7, 71-20, 71-14, 58-7, 45-7, 51-17, 66-27. So, Coach Buck, when a team, and I know you've been through this, goes that long without even playing a fourth quarter game in district and all of district, you got to be tested in the playoffs before you get deep, and it becomes one of those games where you're playing one of those traditional powers. And maybe sometimes that was you, but in some of these districts, if they're in good balance in them, you don't get tested for weeks on end.
I don't know. I kind of felt the other way. I feel like my kids were more rested. Not as many quarters, not as many minutes played.
Yeah.
So they're not as beat up as what yours might be. So my kids may be fresher when we get to that fourth quarter than what yours might be. But and again, that depends. And I'll say this: John is a good football coach.
Yes.
Regardless of how many minutes those kids played, he's going to have them ready to play in a fourth quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
Then the only one we haven't discussed, guys, the battle of the undefeateds, both 12-0. Johnson, Lake Travis. That's obviously going to be a big one. Lake Travis, I would assume, is the favorite as far as the Padilla poll goes, Carl.
No doubt. Being in San Antonio, kind of hoping and root for Johnson a little bit, but Hank and I go back a long ways. Lake Travis favored by 11. They definitely had the tougher schedule this year, playing Dripping Springs and Westlake. So we'll see. This is maybe the second best defense I've ever seen Lake Travis have, and I've been watching them for 23 years, which is longer than Johnson's been playing football. But this is probably the best Johnson team ever, even better than the semifinal team under Ron Ritterman several years ago with his son Hunter at quarterback. This team can strike on any play and score from anywhere on the field. So we'll see. And, they overcame an 18-point steal lead in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter last week to win.
Well, let's jump to Division II in 6A. And some exciting matchups, obviously, there as well. We'll start with Region 1 and 2, and that's Denton-Guyer and South Lake Carroll, along with DeSoto and Willis. Both of those intriguing.
Yeah, Coach Buck, Coach Shipley, whoever wants to take that. South Lake Carroll, obviously Riley Dodge, arguably, maybe not even arguably, the best team he's had at South Lake Carroll. Denton-Guyer, talented as always, 11-2 versus undefeated. Guyer survived Byron Nelson last week, 24-21. Something to kind of note going into this game, obviously, because South Lake Carroll is always plays, in the past, before district change, Pitt played Byron Nelson. But kind of you guys' thoughts on this game?
I'll say this, after watching Guyer, now it's been a long time ago. It was, week 1 when Guyer and Alito played. But at that point, unless they've gotten a lot better on offense, I don't see them having enough offense to beat South Lake Carroll.
What's your poll tell you on that one? Because South Lake Carroll beat Byron Nelson early in the year 52-3 in the first.
They did.
Yeah.
And, the great thing is that Northwest ISD promoted Zach Woodward to head football coach instead of interim, I think yesterday. So that's great news for them. South Lake's fared by 16 over Guyer. So we'll see if that's a game that's even that close.
And then DeSoto and Willis, guys, we've watched a little Willis film on here at the beginning of the year. Jermaine Bishop, Coach Shipley, I know you're a fan of his. What do you think about that DeSoto Willis game?
Well, it's going to be a good game. He's hard. He's a hard guy to stop. You kind of go back to when I was talking about Duncanville. You've got a team that has been there and done it for a long time, and it's expected, at that school and that community, but it's going to be a great talent matchup. I just don't know if Willis has the dogs to do what they'd have to do to stop DeSoto.
Hey, Carl, on that game, before you get to the line on it, is DeSoto the best 3-loss team in the state? I say that seriously. I mean, they lost to North Crowley and Duncanville, obviously your 6A D1 champs 4 years running between those two teams. Lost to Creekside, but then they got it together later in district, and they took out Coppers Cove. That went close. Longview 60-28 in the second round of the playoffs. Then College Park 56-34 last week.
I'll tell you what, if DeSoto does win state, that might be a record for a team that lost by the most margin during the season. So I think I've got you on this one, Jerry. I've seen Jermaine Bishop play once all 3 years that he's been at Willis, or at least sophomore, junior, and senior seasons. So they were impressive against College Park. Again, they, like Coach mentioned, they just didn't have enough weapons to stay up in that game. But I've got DeSoto by 18.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
All right, going over to 3 and 4, guys. We got Summer Creek and King and Vandergrift and Dripping Springs.
Yeah, look, Kenny Harrison. Somebody mentioned Kenny Harrison, lifetime Longhorn, played for John Makovic there. Really good offensive mind. They are 12-1 this year. This is a district rematch. King 11-2. King beat them 42-28 back in district game number 3 for both of those teams. Since that point in time, I think Summer Creek has taken a step. I mean, they beat North Shore 27-0, guys. And then beat Katy last week 38-37. Carl, what is this return game, kind of a revenge game for Summer Creek? Where do you have this one?
Well, it's a weird game the first time. If I remember right, Sheldon King was up 42-0 right before half, and Summer Creek scored a touchdown. And then they scored 3 in the third quarter and early in the fourth, and were threatening again. And King finally got it together and stopped them and won 42-28. So, 42 points for King and then 28 for Summer Creek. So we'll see if it goes back and forth. I mean, the polls got Summer Creek by 1. And that's the kind of game I expect, right down to the last second.
And by the way, that King offense has really been explosive this year. Like, they have scored Decaney 58-7, even the loss to Dickens 47-4. They beat Atascocita 70-55. Goose Creek Memorial, not very good, but 70 spot there. 42 against Summer Creek, as you mentioned. 54 Humble, 65 Kingwood. Obviously, North Shore, their lowest scoring game of the year. 76, 56, 51, 52 their last 4 games. They may have the fastest player in the state, the sophomore running back sprinter, but they have put a lot of points on the board in 6A football this year. It's pretty good comp.
There's no doubt they are scoring like crazy. If anything, if there's a deficiency anywhere, it's defensively, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a 120-point game this weekend.
And then what do y'all got on Vandergrift and Dripping Springs, Carl?
This is a rematch of the first game of the season. I believe it was at Monroe, which is Vandergrift's home field, and drubbed Vandergrift 41-14 in that game. And you wondered just how the defending state champs would do this year. They pretty much recovered. They lost the district game, but their Dripping Springs is favored by 8 in this one. And I remember a couple of years ago, they played a game like this, rematch in the Alamo Dome in the same round. And Vandergrift wound up winning by, I believe, 3. And so I wouldn't doubt that this game is going to go down to the end. I wouldn't think that Dripping Springs is going to score as many points. And I would think Vandergrift's defense obviously would play better, and their offense would play better. So I can see Dripping Springs winning this, and it'll probably be a 1-score game.
Well, let's jump over to 5A Division I, and I have a feeling that Buck may know a thing or two about this next game we're going to talk about. That's Denton Ryan and Aledo. Of course, they've already played once. It was a 1-point game, and that was Ryan's only loss. But Coach Buck, what do you think about it this go-around?
Both of them are really, really good on defense. Both of them are exceptional on defense. Both of them have good running backs. Both of them have good receivers. So it's going to come down to which quarterback plays the best. Dave Hennigan's son is quarterback at Ryan. Very effective quarterback, makes very few mistakes. And then Aledo has a kid who's one of the fastest kids that's ever played quarterback for us. And we've had some fast kids. But it's going to come down to who – I really think it's going to come down to which quarterback can move the ball throwing it, because both of them are good on defense. They can stop the run if they have to. So it's going to come down to passing. And I think the kid from Alito's playing well right now, and which gives Alito a little bit of the edge going into this game.
Carl, what's your computer that predicting there?
I've got Alito by 3 this time. I believe in district they were favored by 5. So pretty much what Buck says. Another game that we all think before it's played will go down to the last minute in a 1-score game. But in the playoffs, obviously, we never know.
Then we got Highland Park and Lone Star next. Obviously, Highland Park, no stranger to the playoffs. And then Lone Star, 13-0 this season. Bob or Jerry, whoever wants to take this one, I'll let y'all talk about this one a little bit.
Well, I'm leading Bob into this one. And I know we'll talk about the game. And Coach Buck, if you want to comment on this as well. Randy Allen is 75 years old and has 472 wins now. From you guys who coached a long time, I know y'all know Randy Allen. Just kind of talk about that. I mean, but first of all, if y'all are still coaching, y'all couldn't be doing the show with us right now. But I mean, coaching at 75, guys, still hanging on, still winning.
Well, he tried to retire.
Yes.
And after about 2 weeks, he went, what in the heck am I going to do? All I do, I write books, I can play the guitar a little bit, and I coach football. And he decided, I'm going to go back. Of course, the Highland Park people were just, excited as heck that he wanted to come back. I know there were a few coaches that thought they were fixing to get that job that were really, really disappointed. I was actually at a convention with one of them, and he left the convention early because he thought he was going back to be announced as the next Highland Park head coach. And when he got there, he found out that he was just going to get to go to the media day for Randy coming back. But he is and Bob probably knows him as good or better than I do, but he is one heck of a football coach. And I know Jeff Rabin's a good coach at Lone Star also, and Lone Star is loaded with talent.
Yes,
but he better be ready is all I can tell you, because Highland Park is really good in the playoffs. Their kids know how to win big games, and you better have both barrels loaded when you go in to play those guys.
Coach Shipley, he was the guy selected to follow Gordon Wood at Brownwood. That was a pretty big job back in '86 when he got that one, because I think he'd been at Ballinger. But your thoughts on Coach Allen. I mean, 52 years as head coach.
Yeah, I actually met him when he was the head coach at Ballinger when I was in Temple working for Bob McQueen. And he everything he did, he tried to follow Coach McQueen. And with his off-season program and his staff organization and all that stuff. And he's a very, very, very disciplined man. He has a plan. He stays with his plan. And as you said, he certainly is not afraid and is confident enough to step in and take Gordon Wood's place and do an incredible job there. He really did. He's just I've only got to coach against him one time when I was at Coppell, and he beat us. But that was a good game, and he was a great man to work with, and very complimentary. He's just a class guy.
Yeah. What does your poll say for this one, Carl?
You got Highland Park by 2. So I think they met in the same round last year, just like Alito Ryan. You wouldn't expect anything but a great game between these two teams, and it's indoors, so no other excuses on this one.
All right, then over to Region 3, we got Port Arthur Memorial, who's undefeated, going against Barbers Hill.
Rematch from district, obviously. Port Arthur Memorial won that game 34-6. Barbers Hill 13-0. Barbers Hill 10-3. PA Memorial 13-0. This has been the season Port Arthur Memorial's been waiting on. Carl, what do you got going into this one? I'm guessing it's a double-digit dog. Barbers Hill is.
It is. Port Arthur Memorial's favored by 13. They're my pick right now to play Aledo in the state finals in a couple of weeks. We'll see if that happens. The worst thing you can do is play someone you really thumped during the season and play them again, because possibly your players come in nice and relaxed and thinking, we beat the heck out of them the first time and that's all that's going to happen this time. And the other teams focus like crazy, knowing if they don't play close to a perfect game, they've got no shot. So we'll see if Port Arthur Memorial shows up with the same kind of focus that Barbers Hill does. And if they do, that they should win easily.
Then our last one over there is Smithton Valley and New Braunfels. Smithton Valley 12-1, and then New Braunfels 11-2, fellas.
Carl, they have a number of, I think, common opponents, Piper being one of them. Obviously, district rematch there with Smithson Valley winning 27-14 first go-round. What are your thoughts? I know this one's near and dear to where you live. What are your thoughts on this one?
Hey, it's funny. I got to see Smithson Valley and Piper last week, and the adjustments that their defensive kids at Smithson Valley make during the play are just amazing. I mean, those kids are so well schooled. They know the play before it happens. I've got Smithson Valley favored by 9. It's in the Alamo Dome, so again, no excuses on the weather or the wind. It should be a great game. I know Smithson Valley won by, I think, 13 the first time, and they should be the favorite.
And for those from the recruiting side of things, Texas taking a look at the junior quarterback at Smithson Valley. He is on their radar, Ty Knutson, who's had a tremendous year, about 6'3", 205. He's made a huge jump as a junior in high school football, guy that Texas brought into a couple of games this year. A.J. Milwee has gone to sea. So for the Texas fans, listen to this from a recruiting perspective, that's one of the names at quarterback that Texas is evaluating, but has yet to offer in 27.
Jump over to Division II in Class 5A, and should be on paper anyway, some pretty close ones over here, starting with Argyle and Melissa. Of course, what was it? Melissa smoked Anna last week, so they're coming off a big win. But Melissa and Argyle, y'all thoughts?
Coach Shipley, go ahead and take this one.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know much about either one of them other than they're both really good football teams. I don't know. I noticed, Carl, that you had given Melissa the edge, and I guess the way they're playing right now, they deserve that. But both of them are, have had great seasons. Let's see. I don't remember what. Excuse me, just a second. Yeah.
No, you're good. Melissa 10-2.
I wrote some notes down. Yeah, Melissa 10-2 and Argyle's 12-1. So, what made you tip to the favor of Melissa, Carl?
Just the way they handled Anna last week. I know that if I heard right, Melissa's got a big deficit this week, but the computer doesn't listen to injuries and players not being eligible for being ejected from games. So that's going to be a tough hill for Melissa to climb if what I heard is correct. Argyle needs no help in beating anybody this year. They are solid everywhere.
And then let's jump down to P&G and South Oak Cliff. Coach Buck, what do you think about that one?
Sock's got a lot of depth at a lot of positions. I haven't seen P&G this year. I know they've got another good season going. I know they're extremely well coached, but I'm afraid South Oak Cliff's going to be in another state championship game.
Yeah, this is the 4th year in a row they've played. The first 2 years were state championship games, and they split them. Last year they played in this round, and South Oak Cliff just drubbed Port Neches Groves. Yeah. I've got South Oak Cliff by 14 this week, and it wouldn't surprise me, no matter what the score of this game is. Obviously, probably a pretty big talent edge for South Oak Cliff, but you never know when you're possibly playing the revenge game just how much your kids can get up for that in the Port Neches Groves side of this.
Well, Jason Todd is another really good defensive-minded football coach, and they're going to be good on defense. I'm not sure how good they are on offense this year. I know they've got a lot of weapons, and they've scored a lot of points, but they're kind of, that district they're in, they're going to score a lot of points. Sock did Sock not beat North Shore this year?
They did.
They did.
Yeah.
And their only losses to Duncanville by 7. So
yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, tell us about Randall and Iowa Colony.
Well, Landon Williams Callis should go over 3,000 yards this year, which is a massive season, right? He's had multiple 300-yard games. He scored 49 touchdowns in 13 games. I'm not going to do the math on that, but I know it's over 3. And this may have the fastest skill players. And this saying something, Carl, this game may have the fastest skill players in the state this week. Iowa Colony has Jaden Warren, who's a 10-4 guy who can absolutely fly. They have a number. He ended up flipping the A&M. The junior quarterback for Iowa Colony is having another really good season. He's also a big-time baseball prospect. But this game has some serious wheels, and it showed the first time they played because it went down to the wire, Carl.
it did. And, last year in this round, Randall won in overtime, I think by 3 over Iowa Colony. So Randall's 3-0 against Iowa Colony the last 2 years. They're favored by 10 in this game. I believe the district game this year had 28 points scored on defense or special teams. I don't expect that to happen this week. So I would think the scoring is going to be a little bit less, and there's no surprise no matter who wins this game.
Games like this are the reason why my defense coordinators are always math teachers, preferably geometry teachers. That way they teach those dudes how to take good angles.
Yes.
Giving away trade secrets now.
Yeah, I'm retired now.
That's a great point, though. I never thought about that. Dadgum.
How about Bernie and Alamo Heights, guys?
Another district rematch. Alamo Heights is favored by 4. Bernie won the district game this year, 37-35. I think since Ron Ritteman's been in Alamo Heights, that's the first time he's lost to a team in Bernie, including Bernie Champion. Again, this ought to be a head knocker. Just a great game at Alamo Stadium, a great place to play a game. And we'll see who wins. But Alamo Heights has had a bugaboo since Ron's been there. They lost in the quarterfinals, which is this round. The first year he was there, and then the last 3 or 4 years he's lost in the third round. So this would be a stepping stone for Alamo Heights to get over this bump that they've had around the last 5 years. Obviously, if Bernie wins, it'd be the second time they get to the semifinals in the last 3 years. So another great game expected tomorrow night.
Neither one of those teams has had a close game in the playoffs. So this will be a game that was really tight the first time, and they've gone through the first 3 rounds each with probably margin of victory in the high 20s, if not low 30s, maybe a little higher in the Alamo Heights case.
Ron, I'd love to see Ron pull it off, and and they got a chance. Back in 2006 when Alamo Heights beat Coppers Cove, Robert Griffin and that group in the state championship game, nobody thought Alamo Heights had a chance then either. But I'm gonna say Ron Riddleman will have them ready to play, and they have a good shot at not just winning this game, but making it to the state championship game.
Yep, that was a great run by Alamo Heights under Don Bird back then. And if we weren't on the air, I could tell you some fun stories about the semifinal and final game there.
All right, moving on to 4A Division I. Bob, they're going to have their shakers going loud and proud this weekend when Stephenville takes on West Plains. What do you think about that one, Bob?
Yeah, I think Stephenville is on their way to another state championship appearance. Not taking anything away from Canyon West Plains, but Stephenville's got a really, really good football team this year, and I just don't know that they're gonna. I don't know that they're gonna lose a game, but I certainly think they'll make it to the state championship game.
Thing about Stephenville too, a lot of their guys on offense, their skill guys, are all going to be back next year too.
Yeah, they're young.
They are a young team to be scoring that many points. Quarterback, running back, the freshman wide receiver who leads them in yards. They have another junior, Juergens. That is a young offensive football team with a lot of firepower. So they're set up for a run here if they continue on this year and get to the state championship game.
Man, there's no doubt. I saw them play La Vega this year in Stephenville, and it was not a match at all. And it included special teams. I mean, Stephenville just ran that game in all three phases the whole time. Stephenville's favored by 8. They played West Plains in this game last year and got handled. So, yeah, we'll see if an extra year under their belt is good for Stephenville to win this game.
And then another one that's highly anticipated this week, Alvarado and Salina. Coach Buck, what do you think about that one?
Man.
With all the mess that's going on in Salina, I know they're favored to win this game, but I would not be surprised if Casey Walraven takes his Indians out there and beats Salina.
Was that last week not maybe the most surprising score to you guys? I mean, Coach, we've been talking about Springtown all year. 64-13, Carl, Coach Buck. I mean, that was an undefeated game, and 64-13. That made me kind of take a second look at Alvarado. I was like, hold on, Salina might be in a little trouble here after all.
I think Alvarado rolled the basketballs out there, and those Springtown kids decided they want to start playing basketball. At least that's what it looked like in the second half. I know that.
I had a couple of people tell me, I guess that played Springtown in district this year, that the district was so bad it just set up Springtown for when they finally played somebody around their talent level, and they just couldn't match up.
North Crowley has so many players. The guys that can't play there go to places like Alvarado and are stars. The quarterback for Alvarado.
Huh.
Wow. Over in Region 3, we got Kilgore and Alameda Crawford. What do you think, Gerry?
New school. Crawford's a lot of talent now. They're going to be moving up to 5A next year. Carl's talked about that. Kilgore. I'll say this about Crawford. This is they're very talented, but they better bring their hard hat to this game because Kilgore is going to be rough and tumble. Crawford's got some elite skill talent, though. They carry right over into basketball, where there'll be a tough out in 4A and hoops too. But Carl, I don't know what the poll's telling you on this one, but it's kind of a little bit of a contrast. Not that Kilgore doesn't have skilled guys, don't get me wrong, but that's the strength of the Crawford team, and Kilgore's going to make this a physical fight.
They are, and that's it'll depend on how Crawford reacts to that. If they don't react very well to it, and sometimes when you're a new program, especially in the fourth round of the playoffs, you don't, and the score doesn't really tell you how close the teams were in talent. I've got Kilgore favored by 5. Again, one of those things where it could be a last play thing, but I could see Kilgore winning easy because for some reason the newness of the school at Crawford just doesn't allow those kids to stay in this game.
And Carl, I forgot to ask you, what'd you have on that Salina game for your poll? Going back for a second.
Salina by 4.
Okay.
There you go.
And if you said that, I'm sorry. Maybe I blanked out there for a second, but I just wanted to check. All right, guys. Last one for this one is Davenport and Lavernia.
Carl, what you got on this one?
I got Davenport by 3. Lavernia had a brand new coach last year. He's back for his second year. He went to the semis last year and lost to Kilgore. It seems like they've won 10 to 12 games in the last 2 years in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes or less to go. Again, Davenport's favored by 3. I saw Davenport beat Canyon Lake in district this year on Halloween night. And if Davenport has that kind of luck, they'll win this game. But again, the margin I have is indicative of what I think will happen. And I'll see the game tomorrow night. Davenport, when they played Canyon Lake, opening kickoff, they fumbled the kickoff by picking it up twice. They couldn't get it picked up. The kid picks it up and goes 94 for a touchdown. And then on the extra point, the holder drops the ball, stands up, takes 2 steps, hits the tight end in the end zone. They're up 8-0 on plays that you would never design. So stuff like that could change the whole way the game might have been played.
Davenport also not the same level necessarily, Stephen. Well, I'm not saying that. They're set up for a little run too. Quarterback's an underclassman, second leading rushers underclassman, 3 of their top 4 receivers, all underclassmen. So they're set up in the day and age of offensive football. They're set up for a nice little run here 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and they should stay 4A Division I next year, so that'll help.
Well, let's look at the last one that we will take a closer look at today. And let's start with Greenwood and Brock. Both of these teams undefeated. Brock has scored at least 65 in their last 2 games. They are loaded across the board. Coach Buck, what do you think about Brock and Greenwood?
Brock is, as you said, they're loaded. There's a unique thing about them. I've got two coaches on that staff. The head coach and offensive coordinator both played and coached for us in Aledo, and now they've got their kids are actually playing on that team. So they're going to be hard to beat in this round. Now that Carthage game next week might be a little different, but I'm not sure Greenwood has the firepower to beat Brock.
Hey, Coach Shipley, what do you think? Because that's out in your neck of the woods. At least Brock is.
Yeah. I don't know much about Greenwood. I know a little bit about him, but I have to agree with Buck. I just don't know that they can stay up with this Brock team. I think they're just too much for them to overcome. Although Midland Greenwood, they're perennial, playoff deep runs and playoffs over the last few years. But I don't know that they're going to be able to handle what Brock's going to bring.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The computer only has Brock by 4, but the way they've been humbling teams in the playoffs, I've got to believe Brock's going to win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. But, again, one of those games where we'll just see what happens.
And then another undefeated team, Carthage, going against Athens. Jerry, I'll let you start.
A rematch from district game that I think it was 61-56, Carl.
Yep.
Athens putting up a lot of points. They have all year. Y'all know where we're at with Scott Surratt. Every win's a record, adds on to a record. And this is an interesting test for them because Athens did put up a ton of points on them, but easily the most points that Carthage has given up in the game this year. The question I have about this one, I think, is the tough thing is, one, this is Surratt in the playoffs, right? But Athens defensively, they get 2 bites at the apple Carl, but can they hold Carthage down at all is my question.
Well, I think several things are in play here. Carthage, by the way, is favored by 17. Pleasant Grove had 17 at half last week and scored 3 the second half, and Carthage just, I believe, scored 27 to overwhelm them. I believe Carthage has their back end problems pretty much fixed from the first Athens game. There's no answer for KJ Edwards and Jet Surratt, and several of the wide receivers at Carthage. So I don't expect this to be anywhere close to the drama of the first game.
Hey, Coach Shipley, how would you feel if you were going in to play Carthage right now and in your last 4 games you'd given up 43, 49, 42, and 36? You wouldn't feel great, would you?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's one of the best coaches in the state. He has a lot of talent, but I'm telling you what, you're not going to outcoach him. The ball may bounce your way, but you're not going to outcoach him.
All right, Region 3, we got West Orange Stark, Waco La Vega. Carl, you actually saw La Vega. You talking about that earlier against Stephenville. What do you think about this game?
That wasn't very fair to see La Vega playing a team that's probably 60% bigger in enrollment. And they had a huge size advantage that night. It actually had a speed advantage on La Vega, which is hard to imagine. I've got La Vega favored by 1. I think it's great that Coach Hickman's got West Orange Star back in this round. It's been quite a few years since they've made the regional finals. So again, another game that I hope is a last second game, and good luck to the winner.
And by the way, they played earlier this year in non-district. I didn't even notice this until doing some research for the show. La Vega beat West Orange 44-28 at West Orange in week 3. The route was cut after La Vega had lost to Salina 36-6. They bounced back and they beat Wos, as I call them, 44-20. So another team that's playing another game where these teams have played either this season or last year in the playoffs in this round. This one happens to be this season. So we'll see how much West Orange Starks improved since that early season game.
Then our last one for today, fellas, Cuero and Sinton.
Coach Shipley's a big Cuero guy. He mentions Robert Strait all the time when we talk about past players that were really good. Cuero Sinton coach. Sinton was a district champion. Cuero was not. But this is a really good South Texas football game in the third round for me.
Yeah, did you say Carl or me?
You go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a great game. We had some great games with Sinton.
Yeah.
Back with can't remember the coach's name now. Great guy. I'll never forget him. Let's see. What was his name? But they
does that mean you beat him bad?
Yeah, they're having a great season this year, obviously. And I think Sosa was there at one time. I don't know if Sosa was the coach then or not. But anyway, those Cuero Gobblers, man, it's not nothing new to them. To be to this round. I don't know that they'll be able to hang with Sinton. I don't know. Carl, what did you have on that?
Oh, I've got Sinton favored by, I believe, 1 or 2. Yeah. It's tight. They were actually tri-champions, Jerry.
Yeah.
In the Sinton's favored by 2. And in the regular season game, Cuero beat them at Cuero 56-55. So that's the kind of game I expect this time.
Good grief. Make old Buck break in a cold sweat.
I know. I was about to say. I bet Buck loves that score.
Oh yeah.
All I know is when we played Cuero in 1998, it was a 14-7 game, and that was a high-scoring damn game back then.
That was high-scoring back then.
21 points.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So. But yeah, and if you want to know something, Cuero lost the game the week before the Sinton game, 57-56 to Rockport Fulton. So they were full of points, both for and against. In that time, they both settled down. I think Cuero's only scored 125 points in their 3 wins, whereas Sinton scored 158. So. We'll see. I think Sinton's playing better right now, but again, you never know what happens in the playoffs.
Where is that game at, Carl?
Believe it's is it in San Antonio? Did they come up here? Or let me see if I can find it real quick for you.
They wouldn't play in Corpus, I don't think.
Oh, you just never know. Yeah, it's at Heroes on Friday night at 7.
Okay.
So.
Has Sinton never won a football championship or state championship?
Man. Not in football. They've
won multiple
finals. Yeah.
Multiple.
Several in baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like every year they're putting a kid in the draft, MLB draft down there.
Yes.
So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Fieldhouse. Of course, we'll be back next week. Be down to the semifinals, fellas. So less and less games to talk about, but that's when it gets the most exciting. So for Gerry Hamilton, Carl Padilla, Coach Bob Shipley, and Coach Tim Buchanan, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.